Imagine standing on a remote railway platform deep in the mountains of Laos. A sleek, high-speed train rushes past, built with Chinese engineering, financed by billions in cross-border investments, and loaded with cargo bound for cities like Kunming, Bangkok, or even Singapore. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. One of the most ambitious railway projects in the world is quietly reshaping Asia's future. It's called the Pan-Asian Railway Network, and it's far more than steel tracks and concrete ties. It's a bold vision led by China, developed in partnership with nations across Southeast Asia. We're talking thousands of kilometers of new rail lines, billions of dollars in funding, and a region completely reimagined, not only economically, but geopolitically. Think of it as Asia's version of Europe's high-speed train revolution, except this time it's cutting through jungles, mountains, and megacities. This network is creating new trade corridors, unlocking tourism routes, and redefining connectivity in ways roads and air travel simply can't match. But here's the big question. Can something as basic as a railway truly transform economies, strengthen alliances, and shift the balance of power across an entire region? That's what we're about to explore. This is the story of how tracks, tunnels, and trains could lay the foundation for a new era in Asia. Why is China pouring billions into building railways across Southeast Asia? To understand this, we need to zoom out to a much bigger plan known as the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI for short. Launched in 2013, the BRI is like a modern Silk Road, a massive plan to connect China with Asia, Europe, and Africa through infrastructure projects, ports, highways, pipelines, and railways. The Pan-Asian Railway Network is one of the most strategic pieces of this puzzle. Why? Because Southeast Asia is booming. Fast-growing cities, rising trade volumes, a young population, and exploding tourism. But here's the problem. The infrastructure is outdated and fragmented. Think about it. Moving goods by truck across multiple borders in Southeast Asia is like trying to stream 4K video on dial-up internet. Roads are congested, border checks are slow, and many national rail systems don't even connect to each other. This creates bottlenecks that hurt business and slow growth. China sees an opportunity, and so do its neighbors. For countries like Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, modern railways mean faster exports, more tourists, more jobs, and better links to global markets. For China, it means access to new markets, increased regional influence, and an alternative to vulnerable sea routes, like the Strait of Malacca, which could be blocked in times of conflict. This isn't just about trains, it's about strategy. The ultimate vision? A high-speed rail corridor stretching from Kunming in southern China all the way to Singapore, a straight line of steel through the heart of Asia. It's bold, it's massive, and it's already under construction. If you're wondering whether this ambitious dream can actually work, look no further than the China-Laos Railway, the first major link to become reality. The idea started back in 2010. At the time, Laos was landlocked and heavily dependent on slow, expensive road transport. Winding mountain roads, multiple border crossings, and endless delays. Fast forward to December 3, 2021, and everything changed. A 420-kilometer railway now connects Kunming in China's Yunnan province with Vientiane, the capital of Laos. The project cost about $6 billion and took more than a decade to build, but it's already making an impact. In its first 9 months of operation, the railway moved 7.17 million tons of cargo, including 1.28 million tons crossing borders. This isn't just steel and machinery on rails, it's economic lifeblood moving faster than ever before. And for Laos, the benefits are clear. The country's GDP has grown at an average of 6.7% annually since the railway opened, well above the regional average. New businesses have appeared around stations, farmers and small businesses now have access to bigger markets, tourism is rebounding thanks to easier access from China. Before the railway, a trip from Vientiane to the Chinese border took 15 hours by road. Now it's under 4 hours by train. This isn't just a train line, it's proof that the regional vision can work, and it sets a powerful precedent for the rest of Southeast Asia. Building on Laos's success, the next major link heads south, to Cambodia. And this isn't just about connecting another country. It's about redefining how goods and people move across mainland Southeast Asia. Cambodia's current rail network is outdated, still running on narrow-gauge colonial-era tracks. Trains crawl at just 30 kilometers per hour, about the speed of a city bike ride. That's about to change. The new China-Cambodia Railway will stretch 383 kilometers, linking the Cambodian border to Phnom Penh, the capital. It will directly connect with the China-Laos line, forming a continuous north-south corridor. And this isn't just a minor upgrade. It's a full rebuild using China's standard gauge, enabling high-speed trains to reach 160 kilometers per hour, over 5 times faster than today. China is investing about 30 billion yuan, or roughly $4 billion, in this project, a clear sign of long-term commitment. For Cambodia, the benefits go far beyond speed. Imagine Cambodian rice, garments, and electronics reaching Chinese markets without costly shipping delays. Factories that once struggled with logistics could scale up production. New industrial zones are already being planned near future rail stations. If all goes as planned, this railway will be operational within 4 years. A blink in infrastructure terms and a giant leap for Cambodia's economy. But Cambodia isn't the only one revisiting old plans and betting big on rail. By June 2023, China and Myanmar were back at the negotiating table. They struck an agreement to move forward. On the Chinese side, construction from Kunming to Ruili, about 690 kilometers, was already making solid progress. Meanwhile, Myanmar began working on its sections, signaling real commitment to the renewed partnership. The completion target, 2026. But this is about more than rails and tunnels. It's about bridging trust between two nations. It's about Myanmar finally connecting to a regional network that could bring jobs, trade, and tourism to areas long cut off from modern development. The China-Myanmar Railway proves one thing: infrastructure isn't just built on land. It's built on relationships. And when those relationships change, so does the map. Next, we move east to Vietnam, a country that once stepped back from this vision, but now is charging ahead with one of the most challenging links in the network. Not every country jumped on board the Pan-Asian Railway plan at first. One of the most critical players, Vietnam, was hesitant. Despite its strategic location on the route to Singapore, Vietnam paused its plans for years. Originally, it agreed to work with China on a transnational rail project, but political uncertainty and public skepticism over large Chinese investments pushed the project into limbo. Years passed. While neighboring nations broke ground, Vietnam stood still. Then came the turning point. By June 2023, Vietnam had watched the success in Laos and how regional trade and development were accelerating. The government made a bold decision: rejoin the Pan-Asian Railway with serious commitment. It pledged $5.9 billion to co-build a modern line with China. But this isn't an easy project. Vietnam's geography is among the toughest in Southeast Asia. The route must weave through mountains, dense forests, and coastal plains. In fact, 68% of the line will consist of tunnels and bridges. To put that in perspective, imagine building a highway where 2/3 runs through mountains or over rivers. Still, the design is cutting edge. Once completed, expected by 2027, this will be one of Indochina's most advanced railways. Trains will run up to 160 kilometers per hour, carrying both passengers and heavy freight. And beyond the engineering, this line carries symbolic weight. Vietnam's return signals a strategic shift, not just in infrastructure, but in diplomacy. It shows that even cautious nations see the value of deeper regional integration. With Vietnam back on track, the vision of a connected Southeast Asia gains major momentum. And as we head to Thailand, we'll see how the most ambitious partnership of all is shaping up to become a true cornerstone of cooperation. If one project truly captures the scale and ambition of this vision, it's the China-Thailand Railway. This isn't just a link between two countries. It's the anchor for connecting China, Laos, Thailand, and beyond. And it's one of Southeast Asia's largest infrastructure collaborations. The price tag? $11.3 billion. Built in 2 massive phases, covering 609 kilometers. The goal? Connect Bangkok to Nong Khai, a city near the Laos border, where it will plug directly into the China-Laos Railway, creating seamless north-south access. Phase 1 is already underway, from Bangkok to Nakhon Ratchasima, spanning 253 kilometers. Thai firms are handling civil works, tunnels, bridges, and tracks, while Chinese companies provide high-speed rail tech, signaling, and train systems. As of now, this section is 25% complete, ahead of schedule, a sign of strong political and engineering momentum. But the real challenge is Phase 2. This part stretches from Nakhon Ratchasima to Nong Khai, crossing the Mekong River via a new bridge into Vientiane, Laos. And this isn't just any bridge, it will carry the economic weight of a region moving towards deeper integration. The cost of this phase alone? 210 billion baht, about $6.2 billion, roughly $80 million per kilometer. Why so high? Because this segment demands complex engineering, environmental safeguards, and cross-border coordination. For Thailand, the motivation is clear. This isn't just about trains, it's about becoming a logistics hub, a place where goods from China, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam converge before heading south to Malaysia and Singapore. It also opens doors for tourism, business travel, and investment, a shift from highways and airports to fast, clean rail mobility. If all stays on track, the full China-Thailand line will be operational by 2028. And when that happens, it won't just carry passengers, it will carry the promise of a new era of cooperation, built on steel, speed, and shared strategy. Next, let's step back and see the big picture, and what it all means for Asia's future. Now picture a map of Asia, a network of steel arteries stretching thousands of kilometers, pulsing with trains carrying goods, people, and ideas from Kunming to Singapore. This isn't a dream, it's already happening. From the China-Laos line boosting GDP, to Cambodia's upgrade tripling speeds, to Thailand's megalink anchoring regional logistics, this is more than transportation. It's a continental transformation. The ripple effects are enormous, economically. It creates faster, cheaper trade routes, shifting supply chains inland and away from vulnerable sea choke points like the Strait of Malacca. Culturally, it shortens distances between nations once divided by poor infrastructure, boosting tourism and people-to-people ties. Geopolitically, it shifts power. The old routes were built around colonial ports. These new ones reflect modern alliances and China's rising influence. But here's the ultimate question. Can infrastructure really reshape a region's destiny? History says yes. Think of how the Transcontinental Railroad transformed America in the 1800s, or how Europe's high-speed rail changed trade and travel forever. Now, Asia might be next. Challenges remain: funding, terrain, politics, but the vision is clear. The groundwork is laid, and the trains are already moving. So here's the big takeaway. This railway isn't just about steel and speed. It's about reimagining Asia's future. Will it succeed in shifting trade patterns? Will it make inland cities the next global hubs? Could it lead to deeper cultural and political ties across the region? We don't know all the answers yet, but the journey has begun. What do you think? Will the Pan-Asian Railway be a game changer or just another ambitious dream? Tell us in the comments. And if you want to follow how global infrastructure is reshaping the world, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because this story is only just beginning.